Today I got the chance to interview Cedric of GoGoActiveBeast. Cedric is a former state track champion and a Division I football player. He helps people work on their social and emotional fitness. Emotional fitness, that's kind of cool. Through his business, GoGoActiveBeast, his goal is to help individuals and schools develop a mental and physical edge using the powerful dynamics with the psychology of an athlete. He uses a positive mindset and fun, active ways to help people become the best version of themselves. I hope you enjoy this interview. All right, Cedric, I am so glad you're here today. I'm super excited. I know that you're like Mr. Sporty Sport, and I also know just enough about you to know that I want to know more, and I'm just excited to interview and kind of learn a little bit in our conversation today. So I'd like to know, like what is it that you're about? Kind of what's the message that you're trying to get out with the things that you're doing?
What I get is who are you without athletics, and help build your character through athletics. So in and out of athletics. So really working on the social behavior part, social emotional fitness, where we work out, we physically, like I physically help train young athletes or anybody that wants to work out. And then also work on the mental side of the game, where you really just focus on help training your mind and being physically fit for that in situations. And then overall, at the end of the day, by doing that is by helping you find your purpose. So align the mind, body, soul thing. But at the end of the day, it's all about life, So who are you without your title? So that's how that's what I do though, is use social emotional behavior connected with fitness and also some life lessons along with it.
So do you actually get out there and like do the physical activity with people? Like people meet you for coaching, or do they actually meet online with you?
So over the summer I took a risk over the summer, but it was a really small number. A couple college athletes. I was helping some guys transition to college, work out with them, and then I worked out with the team. I also worked out with the team that I work with So I'm located in Massachusetts, Amherst, Massachusetts, and I worked out with some high school kids there, and then it just grew. But I coach. I also coach. I work at a high school, but yeah, that's how it grew into I work with just high schoolers. And now I'm doing, since it's cold, it's cold over here. So the snow has dropped here. We have tons of snow. So I've transitioned into doing an online thing. And I work with elementary school kids as well. So I'm ranging from basically elementary school all the way to some college athletes.
Great. I love that range. I mean, it sounds like it's so transferable across the board when it's sports.
Yeah. Did a whole football thing with kids, but it really was more of a get out and play but using football. And I mean, I love it. It was boys, girls, anybody out there. And it was awesome. And these kids range from second grade to 8th grade.
Wow.
That was over the fall. I did that. So I was outside, and now I'm doing another one where I'm doing a 3rd grade to 6th grade, and then I'll be having something. Hopefully by that time it'll get warm, and we'll get back to the high schoolers.
Yeah, around here when I hear snow, I go, "Oh, that means that there's no workout today." Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yes. Now with the Zoom and everything, that it definitely helped to transform that. So we can definitely work out now. And yeah, I used to be excited too. I'm like, snow day, and now we have school. So I'm like, oh my gosh, why are we going to school? And I'm looking outside and the snow's there. I'm like, come on, I'm just like the kids. I want to chill. I want to do this right now. So
okay. So I got a confession here. I am not sporty at all. And okay. I have never considered myself strong. I was actually just having this conversation with somebody last week where I've never actually felt strong in my life. like physically strong, and how I just like can imagine how cool that must feel. And like, I'd love to feel that. And she was talking about that she's a weightlifter and how during this time of the pandemic, it's really a struggle for her because she can't go to the gym and her routine is in the gym, right?
Yep.
So, and she's like done like bodybuilding competitions and stuff. And I think it would be really cool to learn how to weightlift. I do like
Mhm.
to take walks with my dog and stuff. And I used to ski. So I have done activities,
Right.
and I was like in soccer in junior high and that kind of thing. But I love what you just said about mental toughness. Or yeah, is that what you said?
Yep.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And
Mental
I'm like,
toughness.
I don't think I have that. And I think that might be part of my problem. So I'm curious, do you have a psychology background that you're bringing, or are you a sports background where you really experienced it from a sports side? Is it somebody like me that you deal with, or is it just like people who are diehard, hey, I've been a quarterback all my life and that is what I do? And, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love that question. And that's the thing. I don't fit into just one lane. My experience is I've worked with I was a college athlete. I went through UMass at the University of Massachusetts, and that's where I'm at now. And I studied some psychology, and I worked in the education, and then I transitioned into the education realm, and I really worked a lot with kids one on one and more of guidance counseling, and so that's where kind of my background is. But really, just it's been experience. I've been a star, so really just from being a star athlete in high school, so I understand, being the top athlete there, and then going to I went to a prep school, and also I went to college where I was in the middle, star, and then I was at the bottom. And so I've been all in all roles. And now where after that, basically what I do is I tell people, who are you without the title, or who are you without athletics? Mainly, that's where I really focus on, is telling athletes who are you without athletics, but building character through athletics, which that's where how I connect with anybody, because my main study is that I just want to help people have the same athletic mindset. You can have a lot of people already have these tools, but they just might put it in a different title. But you, just like what you're doing right now, is definitely mentally tough, and what, being consistent and doing your work is a part of that. And you're just like an athlete. It's just that, so I just use the psychology of an athlete and really and pass that along, and use those little things, that because as growing up, there was always a schedule. It was like, okay, go here, go here, go here, do this, and then you notice that, oh, I have to practice, I have to do this, and then I have to play a game, which that's what I love about sports, is that you get that immediate gratification, right? So you play the game, and then you kind of learn from that very quickly. Whereas in life, or you're doing something, social media or at work or this and that, we kind of go for maybe a year, and then we're learning, and then we're in at the workspace, and you learn a lesson here and there, and you're like, oh, you take that back, and you're like, okay, how did I do that? Or now you're really good at this, and you're perfecting your craft without, even knowing. So I just translate that in sports talk, but I mean, anybody can do that. And that's how I basically translated my career after. And a lot of people, tend to do this, but for me wise, I just remember, what, I'm going to go after, I was like, I'm going to go after my ultimate dream is to always run this program and become a business. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do it like how I did it in sports. I was like, I was very consistent, like getting up and going here. But then I said, what about, and then it was like, it just went in my head. It was like, why don't you just attack your life like that? How about you do the same thing with your life? And that's where I became like, okay. And now I really talk about purpose, because once you have a purpose and a drive, a lot of times then you kind of do those things. Like, what's the point of this? And I really work with, last thing is I work with kids in education. And my thing is, and I've just spoke about this, is we kind of think about the outcome, which is great. Outcome is, for example, let's get an A plus. Yes, I want you to get an A plus. Go girl, do your thing. Okay. But the thing to how to get to the A plus is when you enter this room, that I have to make sure the child understands that they're important, that they have a worth in this room, that they are going to have an impact. Even though we always say like you don't know that you're a role model until you start seeing popularity, but everyone's a role model. There's always someone in class that you're like, oh my God, like we compare each other all the time. So what is your impact? How do you do that? And you pick that out from that special thing that you do. Let's build on that, create that. And now I can like kind of translate that to whatever we're learning. And then you're going to like, oh yeah, I do that. Oh yeah. And then you learn in your own language to get that, to get that A plus, which is the outcome. So how about we stay present instead of like always focusing on the outcome, which is great. Have a vision, but then come back to the present and say, in this moment, this is who I am. So that's how I use sports and translate it to life.
Well, and life to translate to sports. It sounds like you can work from both sides, and not that people fall into one or the other category, but just to simplify, that there's somebody like me who really doesn't have that sports experience, but has been successful in other areas of life. And so you pull out those and find ways to make them transferable into helping me with my athletic goals or becoming more, strength of mind or whatever that is.
Right.
And with the sports, I do actually see with people who are really intense with their sports and they've stayed with them, like they've really been passionate about it, is that there is a few things that just psychologically they are different. Definitely they can have that drive, but they can also have be really hard on themselves, like so hard on themselves that it can also be crippling, so like to find ways where they can be successful, but also be like, hey, Super Bowl yesterday happened. Hey, not everybody can win, right? So absolutely. How do you be okay with the defeat and move forward? And not that they have to happen in the same second, but you can have that grieving time, but how do you keep that mentality without it crushing you? Because I think not everybody gets to go to the pros. Not everybody is, most people don't. That's a very tiny percentage.
Only 1%, 1.2%.
Yeah. So the majority of people end up either stopping, by choice or stopping because, hey, I'm not good enough. What does that mean? Or I don't have the resources, I don't have the time, whatever, talent. So it sounds like you, though, help them take that sports mentality and figure out how can I really use those skills and make me successful in life. So it's not just in one maybe area I was super passionate about. Because the other thing I could think of, and I don't know why Michael Phelps comes to mind, but it makes me wonder if there's maybe a loss of identity when the sport is kind of over a little bit.
Absolutely. That is the biggest thing. And that's what happened for me. I mean, I definitely went through the loss of identity, and that was my fall when I got injured, and then just life started to spiral. And I mean, I had this huge goal of making it to the pros, and my family is from Ivory Coast, so I'm first generation. So I wanted to like change their lives. I wanted to go back to I remember telling a therapist, I was like, I wanted to go back to Africa. I want to save my country. Like I was so passionate about that, just the saving. And then I literally lost, but I was like, I don't know how to do any of helping other people without my sport. That was the identity. That was where the validation was coming from. And I had to sit there and lose that and start to see, okay, how am I valid without that? And that's when the story started to become even juicier. And I love it. So,
oh man, I want to hear your whole story. When you think about from the time, I mean, the injury is a great example. You don't have control over some of that stuff. It's just like, oh man, from the time that you realize that dream was not going to happen, or even not even then, before then, whenever that stuff you can see when you look back, that timeline was going to be shifting. to now where you're feeling really confident, you know what you want to be doing, you feel strong in the transition you've made. There's a period of time that transition takes. How long do you feel like that took you, and how long do you feel like it takes other people?
Another good question. I mean, everybody's their own people, you
Yeah,
know.
that's true.
So it really depends on specifically on the individual. For me, though, I it took me. I really, crashed my head against the wall over and over, and then there was a point though that I was still athletic enough to go there, but uh, I started to see a repeat pattern where the door closed and then this door closed. And then I started to see that I couldn't really go through college anymore. I would have to kind of go a different route. And I started to see how long that route was. And I had, thank God I had examples in my life in front of me that really stuck with me. And then I said, you know what? It was a hard decision, but it was this point of, do I want to keep doing this and get to a certain age and then start this dream that I have right now? Like I would have the funny thing, I would have kept trying to do this and maybe would have just started what I wanted to start now. I would have missed out on a lot if I didn't stop. And I just said, you know what, I want to stop.
Mm-hmm.
I was literally training with the NFL player. I was with him and we were doing our thing. And I remember, and he was done and he just started. It was so cool watching him start a whole new thing. And I saw that, and he was in his 30s, and I saw that, and he was the example that I said, you know what? I don't want to wait till then to start learning this stuff, and I want to go and try this out. Like I want to start becoming who I want to be now. So by the time I get to his age, I'm not like an old dirt, don't know anything. But I was thinking, I was so like a baby. I was like, oh yeah, 20 something is so young now. I was like, oh, so so I'm like, oh, okay. And and then I just took the chance. I said, you know what? And I had peace with myself because at the end of the day, I understood. I said, I did something. I did get to play. I did get to fully go out. And I played against players that made it to the NFL and they respected me. So as long as I had that respect, like, hey, said you could ball, you can do that. I had that. There was no, I didn't leave the door open of if what. Yes, there's that question of, okay, what would have happened in the NFL? But it was never but I knew in my heart, you know what? I played the best I could and I had fun and I did I did my dream. Now let's make a bigger dream that I always had since 13, which was sports psychology. I love sports psychology and people. And I said, you know what? I want to start that. So I just let it go.
Well, that is awesome. Well, and I love that you tapped into earlier in life too. A lot of times we have cues that we don't pay attention to, and you had a moment where you kind of got in line, got a line. I mean, you sound like you were really reflective in yourself too along the way. And so you kind of, and I don't know if that's part of playing sports or that's your own initiative,
Gotta be.
but it's just like you really were like, is this aligned? And actually, if you had gone on to play, and of course I realize this is total speculation, but could would there have been some, you were not 100% because maybe you're a little bit, oh, I could be doing this already, I could be learning this other thing, and if you're not 100% one direction, that direction, especially at that level, that's dangerous. That could be dangerous too.
Yeah, and I want to kind of get back to the self reflection too. Is that self reflection is or self awareness is so important because we have something in us that we only know. Like we're the ones with ourselves for 24/7. And no one
Yeah,
else until
totally.
even if you have a partner and all this, you are at one point you're always with yourself at 24/7. So there's things that you have a relationship with yourself, and if spirits or whatever. But I want to say that self-reflection is so important, and then kind of connect off of the that's what I self-reflected when I thought about the future, and I look back now, hindsight 2020, and I said, what if I did go there and then I got destroyed in the NFL because I I would have went into a spin cycle there. Like, what if I got hurt there and then would have lost millions, and then I would have been like, oh my gosh, that would have been a bigger fall to me. I felt at a safer, not a safer spot, but I fell at a spot that was better for me. Whereas where my mental was, if I made it all the way there and then lost it all I don't know what the story would have been. You don't know what that story would have been. You don't know what sometimes we always, go with the what ifs and things. And I celebrate the closed doors. Like, why can we celebrate those, closed doors that we don't get? Because there's a lot of situations where kids, I'm like, it's a good thing you didn't go on that hill on the snowbank and go down that hill, because maybe you would have busted your lip if you didn't have your jacket, your gloves, and all that. Because sometimes they just want to go on the snow because it's all snowy outside. I'm in New England, so they want to go in the snow. They don't have a jacket on. Sometimes they just like, all right, let's go over there. And you need to stay inside and close the door and get your stuff. Be ready, be prepared. You might not have been prepared. So it's not that I'm saying you are still going to get led to where you're going to go, but maybe it's not the story. Like, let's let go of the dream and stay in the present, because our purpose, I think, is bigger. And you might make an even bigger impact that I'm having such a joy doing.
I got chills over here. And I think you're hitting on something that is so meaningful right now, because this last year, I feel like a lot of dreams, especially for kids, are feeling like, hey, I didn't get to go into that competition because they closed it. They didn't do it. Or my team's not practicing, or, what's going to happen for my senior year of high school, or am I even going to have a high school next year to go to? And when is it going to be okay for my parents to come watch? Or, I feel like there's just a lot of those that maybe they don't feel like they're necessarily looking to go on to big, huge professional or Olympic, level playing, but they still have dreams about their sports. And what you're saying is celebrate those closed doors. We don't know what your life would have been like if those things had moved forward, injuries that might have happened, changes that might have been made. Who knows? What would you say to people, kids, adults, the parents, everybody's watching this. It's painful to watch your kids, with their dreams be kind of stuffed down right now. What would you say to those folks?
Yeah, my mom cried. Like, she would watch games and cry and all of that. We had a tough time, but I would say it's that the storm is good. Like, okay, so now let's bring it back to sports, right?
Yeah.
In sports, there are always there's always going to be a mistake. The other team's going to get a play on you. It doesn't matter. I always use basketball analogy. They're going to score a point some point. Like, someone's going to score a point. There's never a shutout. That's not a common thing in basketball. They're going to score a point. Same thing with life. There's going to be points scored that against you, but that's what makes you better. Like, we always, we say losses are the ones that, really you learn from more than the wins. And the thing is, these losses are building you up. These losses, it's not that we're saying, you want the score to be lopsided. We're just saying, how about the score being, let's go with 20 to 6. How about, like, you take 6 losses, but you get 20 wins. And those 20 wins, though, are just consistency and then you're finding yourself with where you're supposed to be. Especially kids, it's just keep trying and let go. And, like, you get to shut off the judgment. You get to shut off you want to start hearing, you want to see yourself grow, and then let the losses go. It's not like you're going to play another game. You're going to learn in that situation. And those are the things we really want to practice on, is that part, is how do you're going to make a mistake, but what are you going to do as a coach? What are you going to do next? Are you going to be, while the other team is going down the court or the other direction on the football field, since it was football, the ball's going the other direction, are you just going to sit there? Or are you going to, like, because then I can't use you. Now the thing is, kids are, when we coach them, they want to be this, they want to be that, they want to start. I'm looking for the most reliable person. Sometimes it's not the most, and usually the most reliable person, it becomes the most skillful or best player, because they're the most reliable. Because now I can fit you in situations, or I can put you in late game situations. I can be that, and it's the same for life. Where 2020 is, okay, take a seat, time out. This was a timeout. Now we have to reset and breathe. And then when we go back out there, it's okay, be consistent. Do what you do best. Just do what you do best. And then when you fall, it's for a learning lesson. That's why there's a community. There's people to talk to. And I even shout that to parents as well, is this is the part where parents continue to reach out and talk to each other. Don't hide these things, because we kind of get prideful in a way where we're like, oh, I don't want people to know what we're going through. And meanwhile, you don't know the neighbor next door or so-and-so has that. I'm not saying put all your business out there. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying it's us communicating these things and having those avenues that we're missing, that we're always looking for. It's that we can help each other. That's the point. And then you can really help your child as well, so to pass that down.
That's good. Yeah. And so what are, like, if you were talking to a high schooler right now, let's say a sophomore in high school, and they're used to playing volleyball, or lacrosse is a big one up here, soccer, football, whatever it is, swimming. They're not surfing. They're not getting to do those things right now. What are some things they can be doing, whether it's to work on their mental game, whether it's to work on their team connections? I don't know. What are some things that you would say, hey, these are the top 3 things you kids really need to be focused on?
Right. All right. Top 3 things. I would say first thing is self-awareness. Where are you on the chart? Like, where are you at right now? Just so if you're not sure, go talk to a coach, go talk to your parents. You should have talk to your parents, your coach, talk to 2 friends that are really, really going to give you the truth, not just cheerlead you on.
Like, where are they at in their ability, their skill level?
Just in their skill level. I would do all around. I would really go all around.
But where they are with their attitude, where they are
with their sport, you want but if you're, because the thing is, if you start to understand who you are, for example, if you're a stubborn player, or you're too aggressive, or maybe you're too hesitant, or you're in your head, everybody in your circle, that the people that are in your circle are gonna call you out on your sport. But you should ask both sides. You say, okay, where am I at as a player? And these are hard questions. I'm not saying they're easy, but but if you really want to get there, you want to get to the next, you want to get better, but just better, right? Then talk to your coach and say, okay, where am I at, and what do I really need to do? And then talk to your family, your friends, and things like that, as in a personal self, because that is also blocking your game. Sometimes you don't know that. Oops, making food. Sometimes that's blocking your game. So for me, I would say self-aware, recognize where your self-awareness is. The next thing I would say is now you gotta be consistent and train. There's no you can't.
So even with COVID,
you gotta find this is the even better. The funny thing is, it's the most, I would say, the time you have the most forgiveness in this time, but also an actual advantage if you do it. if you're like doing it, because everyone has that same advantage. I mean, it's everyone has that same advantage, but it's people that are doing it over and over and over and over, and you have such a flexible time where you didn't have that flexibility. It's a different flexibility that you had, where I think virtual learning, you have such a flexibility where you can literally be in a class and take a break and then go do something right then. You can be obsessed with that, or go work on, this is for the people that are really obsessed and really want to get there. I'm talking to them. Not everyone's going to be wanting to do this, but I'm saying you want to be consistent, get up and just, and it shouldn't be just one workout. It should be two, eating right, sleeping, all that stuff is so important just for a sophomore, because I don't know where you are in the ranks, but it doesn't matter because there's someone else across the country outworking you. And so consistency. And then 3, being kind to yourself. I know I just said work hard, but you have to be kind to yourself at this time. It's a time to, and that's why I say number 1 is self-awareness, because you can connect with your friends and family, and then someone in that circle is going to care about you enough to make a schedule and all that stuff, and hopefully, and then you can be consistent in your game. But then the third thing is truly be kind to yourself. Find an anchor. Find something that you understand, that even if I mess this up, even whatever, everything's going, I have an anchor, and I am going to find value in who I am. And I was created for something that no one else can be created for. And that's so hard sometimes for some people to see, especially young folks. But I always heard this. I said, if you're 16 years old, 15 years old, there is a 20-year-old waiting for you. There is a 25-year-old waiting for you to do your work. There's a 30-year-old waiting for you. There's a 40-year-old waiting for you. There's a 50-year-old waiting. Your older self is depending on that 15, 16-year-old you. Yes, you're fighting right now, and you might be depressed or anxiety and things like that. Then forgive yourself. Be okay with it. Go talk. This is why it goes back to number 1. Go talk to somebody. Don't hold it in, and be self-reflective for those, because that will unlock your game even bigger. I'm telling you, I've met people that were all state, all country and all this, and they were, in the game that kind of fueled them, their anger and all that stuff. But there's another unlocking on the other side when you actually love yourself. And then that might answers another question of, maybe you don't want to do the sport. All of a sudden it's oh, this isn't really what I want to do. And I always ask that. Wow. Are you doing, why are you doing this? That's my first questions to any kid. Why? Wow. Why are you doing this? Who are you without? Those 2 questions come up. Why? Why are you playing? Not just because it's fun. Yes, it's fun, but why are you having fun? What's the point of this? And because we have to get to the purpose of this. If you want to have fun, then okay. Then I'm going to make it a fun thing for you. But some people, kids have tons and tons of reasons why they're I want to have fun. I want to be with my friends. I want to be the best in the country. I want to do this. Yeah. Okay. Then those words have to match up with your actions. So,
and everything you're saying, it goes for all of us at every age. You got it, girl. I mean, that's oh yeah, there's somebody 10 years older than me. 15 years old. She's wanting to be that strong person. And in my breaks, in between my meetings, there's no reason I can't get up and go lift the milk jugs, or go, do my little arm waves or whatever it is.
No, hold on. You are chilling out. All right. These are for folks that, Steph, you got 5 o'clock, whatever you got one time, and then you do that. If you want to take a break.
Okay. I don't have to work hard.
I'll send you a workout and get you going, and you're going to chill. Because out here, Steph going to be, Steph, what are you doing? One more rep. Just one more rep. Okay, all right. Like, listen. Then you coming in the meetings all hurting. And it's like, well, Cedric said, hold on now, hold on, Steph. You are yes, but you're right. There is an older you. There is someone
That's
that
good.
is.
See, I like that you're already pacing myself.
Yes.
Because you're right.
Remember, be kind. We have to be kind to ourselves as well.
I love it. Okay, well, I feel like I have learned so much and more than I was even expecting to learn. Is there any last words or any final words you want to share?
All I want to say is I always say this, who are you without the title, and tell them negative thoughts, stop playing with me. But I just thank you so much.
Yeah, this was great. I'm actually I can already see, doing another conversation. There's some other stuff that I think you're going to have some great ideas that we didn't even tap into.
Yeah, I mean,
What are some actual
with the kids? I want to know
right,
about
right.
the kids.
Kids and the adults. So
What's
thank
up,
you.
adults?
Thank you for being here today. This was awesome. And if people want to reach you and want to connect with you, how would they do that?
At GoGoActiveBeast.
At GoGoActiveBeast. Oh,
Beast.
Beast.
As in, yes, like beast mode.
GoGo. Okay.
Yep, GoGoActiveBeast at Instagram, TikTok.
Wherever, you're all over it.
Yeah. I'm all over YouTube. Yep,
Awesome.
I'm all there. But yeah,
right.
If you really want to get me, Instagram message and I'll answer.
Awesome, Cedric. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. I appreciate this and love everybody out there.